Hi, I'm Andy Ruzicka with STL TV. Very excited to be with you here at the Gateway Arch National Park. And I am so excited to talk to our next guest, Pam Sanfilippo. She is the program manager for the Museum Services and Interpretation. Pam, thank you so much for inviting us to the Gateway Arch National Park.
My pleasure. Thank you for visiting.
So this new event, this event you've got coming up, it's really exciting. It's about Juneteenth. Can you just tell me what it is and kind of just a general overview of the event?
Sure, we're calling it Gateway to Inclusive History at Conference, and it is going to be on Monday, June 19th, which is the federal holiday celebrating emancipation for all slaves at the end of the Civil War. And we are actually talking about how we can bring awareness to all of the sites related to African American history here in St. Louis during this conference.
Excellent. So when you talk about this event, just how important it is for the city, I think it's so important that you're doing this first of all. And can you tell me just another reason why this is one of your biggest events that you do for Juneteenth?
Sure. So we, of course, part of the history of the park is the old courthouse. That's part of the national park site here. And the story of Dred and Harriet Scott, who sued for their freedom first at the old courthouse in a long 11-year battle that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. So telling the story of how those who were enslaved tried to achieve freedom, whether it was through the courts, whether it was escaping on the Underground Railroad, whether it was being manumitted by their enslavers or purchasing their freedom. Those are all really important stories to the park and to St. Louis. And so through this conference, we're highlighting the programs that the National Park Service has. One is called Underground Railroad Network to Freedom, and it highlights sites on the Underground Railroad, which the old courthouse is part of. There's only two in St. Louis, the old courthouse and the Mary Meacham Crossing site on the Mississippi River. And then the next program is called Reconstruction Era Network, and that is looking at the period post-Civil War to about 1900 and how those enslaved individuals who were free were forming new lives in freedom. And then the third one is the African American Civil Rights Network, and that's looking at the modern civil rights era. So really spanning all of American history. And so we want to bring awareness to those programs and get the community involved in helping us in St. Louis recognize and commemorate those sites.
Incredible. That's a lot, for it. And I think it's important. I really do. It's so cool. And this event in particular, you mentioned the Underground Railroad Network. There is a panelist on this panel of this conference that is a part of that.
Yes. Each of the programs have representatives from them here, and Barry Jurgensen is the Midwest Region Program Manager for that Network to Freedom program, and he is very excited about having additional sites added to that program here in St. Louis, and providing the resources and recognition to get those sites on the network. So
excellent.
Yeah, and each of the programs will do the same.
Each of the programs. And the public, it's free to come.
It is.
The public can show up, and are they taking questions or comments?
Yes, so we'll have, each of the programs will present for about an hour, starting at about 9:30, and then we'll have a break for individuals to get their lunches on their own, and then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon we'll start with some people who have actually worked to get sites listed on these programs, individuals such as Angela De Silva, who was instrumental in the Mary Meacham Crossing site, Vivian Gibson, who has written a book on Mill Creek Valley, and trying to think of the third one. Oh, Linda Nance, who has worked on the Annie Malone Historical Society. So they'll be presenting on their programs, and then we're going to open it up to the public to share their ideas and get their feedback on sites they think we should commemorate here in St. Louis.
And that's the other, you mentioned, the Annie Malone and the Meacham Park. So there is a big component of a local history around this as well.
Definitely, yes.
And the rich culture that we have here in St. Louis.
And people have been working individually or in small groups to identify these sites, but now we want to bring everybody together so that, there's strength in numbers. And so we're hoping to help create that bigger awareness. We've got great resources through Great Rivers Greenway and the new Brick Line Trail that they're developing that will commemorate Mill Creek Valley as well. So again, just helping to help bring people together to make things happen.
Are you excited? I mean, is this part of your baby? Have you put a lot of this together?
I've been part of a great team to bring it to fruition. And so, yes, these stories are one of my passions, and so I'm really excited to see this move forward.
That's so much great. It's so much amazingness happening right there. I'm excited for you guys putting it on. I think it's important for St. Louis. I think people, hopefully as many people as possible, come out. When is the event, and what time should people arrive?
It is Monday, June 19th, and it will be here in Tucker Theater in the tram lobby area of the Visitor Center here at Gateway Arch National Park. We open at 9, so people will come in about 9, get through the check line, security check line, and then come on down here to Tucker Theater, and we'll get started about 9:15.
And anything else about the event that you think people would be really excited to join about?
I think if they're interested in learning about all of the great African American related sites in St. Louis, then this is the place to be, and we want to commemorate and recognize how important Juneteenth is, and how we at the National Park Service and the community can help celebrate those stories.
Well, thank you so much, Pam. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, and I appreciate it.
That was a great interview with Pam Sanfilippo, the Program Manager for Museum Services and Interpretation. And the event is coming up. You need to be here at the Gateway Arch National Park for the Juneteenth Conference celebration. So for STL TV, you can always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can go to our website, stltv.net, for all the latest information. For STL TV, I'm Andy Ruzicka.